I just met him. Well, I'm sure I knew him when I was a little boy, but didn't remember him. But when I got out of home, I remember him. Well, I remember he was in California at the time. While we were in the home, he had moved his family out to California. John was a painter.
Okay.
That was his occupation. But he was a pretty talented guy. He at one time had well, okay, this is kind of the way it worked back then. If there was any money in the family, they usually gave the money to the men.
Mm-hmm.
The women, they figured, would marry money.
Oh, okay.
So John, he had several inheritance. One I know was $40,000, which was a pretty good chunk back then. And this friend of the family, his name was Tony Flood. John went and bought a brand new Ford. I think it was about a 41 model or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he come by and he showed it to Tony Flood. He said, "Tony, get in and take," and Tony was admiring it. "Oh man, this is nice, great," He said, "Well, get in, we'll take a ride." So Tony got in there, they went on driving around there, and he pulled in to the place where he bought the car. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Tony, why don't you pick one out? I'll buy you a car."
Wow.
But Tony told me this himself. And he said, I told him, "John, we can't do this,
Uh-huh.
He didn't take it. But that's the kind of guy Johnny Kelly was.
Wow.
He'd give you anything,
Uh-huh.
But then he decided he was gonna. He was kind of a musician, He really had the rhythm and everything like that. And he decided he was going to have a band, and they played in all them little honky tonks around the neighborhood and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Eventually, that broke up, and
Now, what did he play?
Huh?
What did he play? What instrument? What instrument did he play?
Drums.
Drums.
Yeah, he was a drummer. Yeah, he was good too. And
you said he could play the spoons too.
Oh yeah, he that kind of goes together with spoons and drums, and he would, if he was broke, which was quite a bit, he'd take his spoons and he'd go in the bar there. He'd have enough money for a beer, and he'd sit there and play them spoons. Mm-hmm. And he had a real raspy voice, but he could sing pretty good. It sounded pretty good with the spoons,
Okay.
and in a bar. So he could sit there all night and drink beer for nothing, because people would want him to play their song,
Uh-huh.
And
so he would sing with it, though?
Sometimes.
Really?
Sometimes he would, yeah. Uh-huh. And he was good at that.
Wow.
And he also was talented with playing baseball. He was a catcher. And he played for the St. Louis Browns.
Okay.
He didn't play too long because he never would follow their rules, Got to go to bed 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. Well, John wouldn't do it. He'd be down to the bar down there. So.
Do you know about what year that was? Was that before he went to California or after?
Oh, that was before. That was when we were in a home, but that was, it was in the 40s, but I wouldn't even say what year, for sure. And then I heard he took off for California, him and his family. Didn't hear from, he used to keep in touch with his mother, I guess, my grandmother, but not that often. His wife used to more than he did. Okay. Letters. And I don't think too much phone calls, but letters and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Pictures of the kids, stuff like, Mm-hmm. But John, he here's a little story my grandmother told me. She said one time she was out there either outside or looking out the window or something, and she seen John and another boy coming down the street with two men behind them, and you almost gotta get a little action with this. Oh, John was, she said John was coming down the street, and every once in a while he'd go like that, you know, and the other kid too. And just, they'd take a few steps and jump like that. And she was wondering what was happening, but anyhow, they, when they got home, these two men said, "Tell your mother what you done." And so what they did, there was a wooden bridge across St. Charles Rock Road at the time. And they got underneath there and drove nails up.
Oh, my goodness.
And this car come by and it popped their tires. And
oh, wow.
so these guys stopped. One of them come around this way and the other one come around that way and caught them two boys. See? And they was found where Johnny lived, and they followed him there, and whenever he was hopping, they were kicking him in the butt.
Oh my goodness.
So my grandmother wound up paying for a set of tires.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, that other boy was a good friend of his, even until the day he died, I guess. His name was Clarence Colbert.
Okay.
So it was pretty, just a little story, you know. And then later on in life, I had a friend, we used to go squirrel hunting up there at Warrenton, Missouri, and at his grandmother's. We went up there 3-4 times. About the 4th, 5th time we was up there, for some reason she jumped on my case, and she said, "I never did like your family and all that stuff." And I said, "Well, wait a minute, what's the matter? What happened?" She said, "The way John used to do my son, he used to whip him all the time." So, I found out later. But I said, "Well, you know, you should have told me about this." I said, and you know, I wouldn't even come up. I wouldn't have bothered you, you know, or anything. But I said, you know, I had nothing to do with it. So that was the reason of her not liking our families, because her son, his name was Harold, I think. But anyhow, John used to pick on him, bully him, I guess you would say. I don't know.
Really?
But,
were y'all pretty close in age, John Kelly and you?
And me?
Yeah.
No. Oh, heck no. He was my uncle. You know, he was 25 years older than me, or 30, or whatever.
And it was John Kelly that was bullying this child?
He wasn't a child. They were the same age.
Oh, okay.
This woman's son and John went to school together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But John, for some reason or the other, used to kick his butt all the time.
That's awful.
But that woman, she jumped all over my case, and I told her, I didn't have nothing to do with it, but if that's the way you feel, I'll see you later. So I left. So,
now, when
you know, she should have mentioned something the first time I come up there, you know.
Yeah.
Instead of making me feel halfway welcome the first 3-4 times, and then all of a sudden jump on my case, which I had nothing to do with anyhow. You know? But that's life, I guess.
I guess so.
Never did go back either.
Now, when John Kelly moved back from California, he lived with your grandmother,
yeah, he lived,
Molly Kelly.
Yeah, when he come back from California, he came by himself. His family stayed up there, his wife.